Happening today, there's a new effort on the Hill that's seeking to ensure Jeffrey Epstein's convicted associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, will not receive any form of clemency, including a potential presidential pardon, in exchange for testimony. With me now is Democratic Congressman Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. He's a senior member of the Oversight Committee, and he is leading this resolution. Congressman, thanks for being with us. You're introducing this on Friday to oppose clemency for Maxwell. Do any of your Republican colleagues support the effort?
You know, we just started to talk about this today, and once we introduce it, we'll socialize it with our Republican colleagues. But I think a lot of them, the majority of them, would be supportive. If you look at American public sentiment, the vast majority of Americans don't want Ghislaine Maxwell to receive a pardon or a commutation or clemency of any kind, because she's a hardened criminal who committed heinous crimes against children. And so given that fact, I'm very hopeful that we can get some bipartisan support.
But what do you want to hear from her? She is an indicted perjurer who is, it appears to be clearly angling for a pardon, very likely has motivations beyond just getting the truth out there. What can she provide that victims and documents cannot?
Well, first of all, I don't think that we should interview her or depose her or bring her in for testimony unless and until we get the documents, because of her credibility problems that you pointed out. We need corroboration for anything that she says. And that's why I'm glad that on a bipartisan basis, the Oversight Committee successfully is subpoenaing those documents, the Epstein files. That being said, I think that she can give additional color as to the nature of the scheme behind the sex trafficking ring that Epstein conducted. There were more than 1,000 victims, according to the DOJ. Many of those victims are speaking out now, and they've suffered unspeakable crimes at the hands of these two. So that's one thing. And then another issue is, you know, how did the president of the United States have such a close relationship with maybe the most infamous pedophile of our time? I don't know the answers, but that's what those documents might show.
A lot of these victims have been speaking out for years. Certainly, I know there's a huge interest right now, but they've been talking for years. You mentioned the subpoena of the documents. Do you know when the chairman will actually be signing that and sending that over to DOJ?
I don't. I'm hopeful that it's going to be, done with all deliberate speed here, because we need to get those documents ASAP. I think our constituents, the vast majority of them, believe that those should have been disclosed yesterday. And the second
Can I ask
part
you,
of this
sorry
is
to interrupt you, but only because we only have so much time, Congressman, but is there consensus when you say you want to hear from Maxwell after you get the documents? Is that the consensus in the committee, that that's the order of things?
I don't know that there's consensus on it. That's my personal opinion, just because of the credibility problem that she has.
Okay. And Democrats right now, people in your party, are publicly asking, what is the Trump administration? What are Republicans hiding for Trump? Have you seen any evidence beyond what's already public that leads you to the conclusion that there is some sort of cover up here to support that claim that some Democrats are making? Because that's a pretty serious accusation.
I haven't seen any concrete evidence. I think we need to see the files. We need to understand what's in them. The fact that the Trump administration doesn't want to disclose any part of it is very troubling. And the fact that, it appears that the president is dangling a potential pardon or leniency to Ghislaine Maxwell in return for what, we don't know. And when they interviewed her for 2 days, we don't know about those interviews either. I'm glad that Senator Durbin has asked for the transcripts of those, but the fact that they're not being released is further raising questions about this whole episode.
Turning to the Biden aides before the committee, two key ones very close to the former president, Steve Ricchetti and former senior advisor Mike Donilon, sitting for interviews with the Oversight Committee this week, starting today. Have you heard anything notable in the interview today?
No, I have not. And I think that this is again, an attempt to distract away from the large, lousy law, which he calls the big, beautiful bill, as well as the Epstein affair right now.
So do you believe what you've heard so far? Because a number of aides have testified that he was mentally sharp enough to serve as the president. Ron Klain, former chief of staff to Biden, said that last week. Do you believe what they're saying?
I have no reason to question them, except that I know it takes its toll. I'm glad that the president made his decision not to run again. On the other hand, I question what's happening right now with President Trump and his own cognitive state sometimes. All that being said, I think the policies are the most important thing to judge the president, whether it's Trump or Biden. And I think right now, for instance, with the big, beautiful bill, which I call the large, lousy law, the fact that he would leave 17 million people uninsured across the country causes great consternation among my constituents and really calls into question his policies and his positions more than anything else.
I do want to ask you about Ashley Williams, who was deputy director of Oval Office operations for Biden, who, according to a source familiar with her interview, did not recall whether teleprompters were used for cabinet meetings, did not recall if there were discussions about Biden using a wheelchair, did not recall if there were discussions about him undergoing a cognitive test, did not recall if she ever discussed his decline, did not recall if she ever had to wake Biden up, and did not recall how she got involved in his 2020 campaign, according to that source. Do you think you would remember if you ever had to wake a president up?
I've never been in that position, so I wouldn't even know how to answer that question exactly. But what I'm confident of is, again, I think that the president enacted policies that were the right ones. And at the end of the day, we didn't hire him to win Jeopardy. We hired him because of his character. He took us through a period of chaos. He handled his job with humility, and then he ultimately decided not to run again when he decided he wasn't necessarily the right person to do it. And I think that, to me, passes the test of character more than anything else.
Yeah, deciding quite late, very potentially costing Democrats the election, as many consider that. Congressman Krishnamoorthi, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Still ahead, NYPD